from The Independent. 2 killed in Israeli strikes on southern Lebanon as West pushes to avoid all-out war with Hezbollah. Israel's foreign minister says the country is approaching the moment of all-out war against Hezbollah and Lebanon.
Israeli airstrikes killed 2 people and injured 3 others in southern Lebanon on Monday morning as world leaders rushed to de-escalate tensions and avoid another potential all-out war in the Middle East following Sunday's deadly rocket attack in the occupied Golan Heights. Israel has blamed the Iran-backed Hezbollah militant group for the rocket attack that killed 12 children and teenagers on a football pitch, making it the deadliest attack on Israel since October 7th of last year. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said his country would give a strong response to the weekend strike. The state of Israel will not and cannot let this pass. Our response will come and it will be harsh, he said according to a statement from his office released following the visit. Overnight strikes early on Monday and by Israel jets on Sunday against what the military called Hezbollah targets deep inside Lebanese territory did not appear to constitute that response, but rather part of routine exchange of fire with Hezbollah that has been going on since October. Foreign Minister Israel Katz over the weekend raised the prospect of a full-scale conflict, saying, "We are approaching the moment of an all-out war against Hezbollah in Lebanon." Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant announced on Sunday that Hezbollah would bear a heavy price for their actions. Hezbollah has strongly denied responsibility for Saturday's rocket attack. While Israel's Western allies condemned the attack, world leaders also urged the Netanyahu administration to show restraint and prevent a war breaking out in the region along the ongoing Gaza conflict. Iran's foreign ministry has warned Israel against new military adventures in Lebanon, which could lead to unforeseen consequences and reactions to such stupid behavior. Any ignorant action of the Zionist regime can lead to a broadening of the scope of instability, insecurity, and war in the region, a spokesperson for the foreign ministry said. France called for everything to be done to avoid a new military escalation, as Egypt warned the attack could spill into a comprehensive regional war. The Lebanese government also condemned all acts of violence and attacks against all civilians and called for an immediate cessation of hostilities on all fronts. It said targeting civilians is a flagrant violation of international law and contradicts the principles of humanity. This is from The Intercept. Netanyahu insulted and smeared the pro-Palestine protest movement. Congress clapped. Organizers say attacks from the Israeli Prime Minister, who faces charges of war crimes, show the strength of their movement.
As thousands of protesters gathered outside the Capitol, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed a joint session of the U.S. Congress and spent a significant portion of his hour-long speech attacking the U.S. pro-Palestinian protest movement with insults and misinformation. The Prime Minister went after campus protesters, drawing a false equivalence between students calling on their schools to divest from Israel and anti-Semitic attacks. He went on to insult protesters' geographical and historical knowledge of the region, in reference to the protest slogan, "From the river to the sea," and belittled the slogan, "Gays for Gaza," saying it was the same as chickens for KFC. More broadly, Netanyahu claimed that movements for Palestine liberation were choosing to stand with evil, to stand with Hamas. Hamas!
Hamas!
The Prime Minister also claimed that the pro-Palestinian movement is funded by the Iranian government, labeling protesters Iran's useful idiots without offering any evidence to substantiate his claim. The allegations of Iranian funding drew a standing ovation from many members of Congress who attended the speech, but also a splattering of boos. The comment likely stemmed from a statement released earlier this month from the White House's head of national intelligence, Avril Haines, who said they found actors tied to Iran's government posing as activists online, seeking to encourage protests and even providing financial support to protesters.
I don't know how to tell you this, but most people, if they're going to get money from Iran, they're going to be like, no, I ran the other way.
Yeah. The CIA would be here so quick.
Yeah.
In the same statement, Haines clarified that Americans who protest are expressing their view on Gaza in good faith, and that her office's intelligence does not indicate otherwise. To Palestine solidarity, advocates demanding a ceasefire and an end to Israel's war, Netanyahu's attacks spoke to the power of their movement. The speech was an attempt to delegitimize a social movement that has a lot of power, that has a lot of clarity, said Benjamin Kirsten, a member of Jewish Voice for Peace, who participated in the rally outside the Capitol in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday, as well as the sit-in a day earlier in the Capitol Rotunda. It is also a distraction from what should be in focus, which is that over 39,000 people, over 14,000 children, have been killed by the Israeli government and military, making great use of United States weapons and funding.
Oh, way more people than that.
A central demand of protests around the capital during Netanyahu's visit was an arms embargo on Israel. Since October 7th, the U.S. has sent more than $12 billion in military aid to Israel, contributing to more than $141 billion in weapons to the Israeli government since the nation's formation in 1948. During his speech, Netanyahu appealed to lawmakers to fast-track military aid and invoked former British Prime Minister Winston Churchill's World War II appeal to the United States: "Give us the tools and we'll finish the job."
Oh, I got a tool for you.
He also said that sending more weapons would help keep American boots off the ground, despite the fact that American soldiers in the region have been readied for deployment to Gaza, have died in attacks related to the ongoing war, and have been actively defending Israeli targets from attack.
I just don't think he should be forgotten.
Netanyahu's appearance before Congress generated significant controversy among Democratic lawmakers, drawing detractors across the party's political spectrum, from Representative Nancy Pelosi, who said the invitation was a mistake, to Senator Bernie Sanders, who said Israel has trampled on international law, on American law, and on basic human values in its war on Gaza. More than 50 Democratic lawmakers boycotted the address in protest. Representative Rashida Tlaib, the only Palestinian in Congress and most vocal opponent of the event, was in attendance, holding a sign that read, "War Criminal." Her guest at the address was Hani Alamadoun, a Palestinian American and director of philanthropy at UNRWA USA, who Tlaib said had lost over 150 members of his extended family in Netanyahu's genocide. But roaring applause met Netanyahu as he walked onto the House floor, with the ovation lasting for more than 5 minutes. More clapping came after he dismissed protesters outside the Capitol, and chants of USA broke out after Netanyahu praised members of a University of North Carolina fraternity who went viral for stopping an American flag from touching the ground during campus protests in May. The fraternity members were also honored last week at the Republican National Convention. The International Criminal Court's prosecutor requested arrest warrants in May for Netanyahu and his cabinet member and defense minister Yoav Gallant on a series of war crimes, including starvation of Palestinian civilians in Gaza and the targeting civilians in its military attacks. In Congress, Netanyahu openly dismissed the ICC's case against him, defending his government's record of delivering aid to Gaza and avoiding civilian deaths. Oh my God.
I'm sorry, what record?
Hold on, what is this? This is...
Stupidity? Trumpism?
They just make your brain explode.
Alternative facts.
Yeah.
This is like Trump's alternative facts. Like, facts aren't real. This is a facts aren't real thing.
Alright.
I want to see the record of the aid that got in. I want to see the record of Palestinian lives that you personally had your people save. Not when we put them in prison.
Yeah, but what about all the medics you killed who was trying to help the Palestinians? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I gotta get to this.
That made me laugh. I'm sorry.
It
made me laugh because it's like, wait, did he just say that?
It's like baby bird brain. Like, amnesia? Like, I don't... Right.
Oh, wow.
Okay. The ICC is trying to shackle Israel's hands and prevent us from defending ourselves, Netanyahu said, before drawing a connection to the U.S., which, like Israel, is not party to the Rome Statute. If Israel's hands are tied, America's next.
You're the one doing it, bro. Maybe he has dementia and he just, forgot what's going on.
He's brain dead.
Old people. This is why old people should not be in office. Look at the fucking shit that they're doing. They're just going to kill us all because they're bored and they want to be remembered.
They're genocidal. Old people are genocidal. Protest organizers hope to shift the focus from individual actors such as Netanyahu to the broader catastrophe of Israel's treatment of Palestinians and war on Gaza. Last Friday, the International Court of Justice, the United Nations top court, ruled that Israel's occupation of the West Bank and East Jerusalem is illegal, rife with war crime violations, and amounts to apartheid. A separate ICJ case is considering whether Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. Yes, they are. Are they trying to destroy people in part or whole?
Including getting rid of their history, like blowing up their museums.
Yeah. Cultural genocide.
As well as literal life genocide.
They're trying to remove them from the area? That's genocide.
Remove them from history?
Genocide. As American taxpayers, we understand that Netanyahu is not the cause. This is not Netanyahu's war, but that he really is the symptom of a larger problem of Israeli occupation and apartheid, and now genocide, being carried out with American weapons and the support of the American government, said Kirsten. He believes that U.S. lawmakers are wrong to isolate blame to Netanyahu. What that allows is criticism of Netanyahu and no change in policy or change in behavior.
Which is fair. That means they arrest Netanyahu but never actually address what's happening.
This is from Middle East Eye. Palestinians raped and tortured in Israeli detention, says prisoners group. New details have emerged about the abuse suffered by detainees. New incidents of abuse suffered by Gaza detainees at the hands of Israeli forces have come to light following a news conference held on Monday by the Commission of Detainees Affairs, a Palestinian prisoners organization. Speakers at the press conference in Ramallah and the occupied West Bank provided updates on the conditions faced by Palestinians taken from Gaza and held in Israeli custody. Khaled Main, the Commission's lawyer, reported on his conversation with Mohammed Arab, an Al Arabi TV's Gaza correspondent, who was detained by Israeli forces during the raid on Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital on March 18th. Mohammed Arab informed me of cases of rape of inmates as well as torture in front of everyone. Main spoke to Arab in Israel's Ofer prison in the West Bank, where he was recently transferred along with some prisoners from the notorious Taman detention center in Israel's Negev desert. Taman came under scrutiny after investigations and reports exposed severe torture inflicted on prisoners abducted from Gaza. Despite Israel's previous announcement to phase out the use of Taman, Main said that detainees from Gaza continued to be brought to the detention center. After speaking to Arab, Main confirmed that the conditions in Ofer are just as bad as those in Taman. Mohammed also spoke of cases of abuse where detainees were tied up to walls with dogs released to attack them, Main said. Detainees were also beaten with clubs for hours on end and beaten with pistols into their butts. In an interview with Al Arabi TV, following the press conference, Main recounted a case Arabi informed him of involving a 27-year-old detainee who was raped, forced to sleep on his stomach, attacked by police dogs, and then raped with a fire extinguisher and had the tube inserted into his butt. The extinguisher was then activated to release its contents into the man's body. Arab also reported knowing of a detainee who recently died to lack of medical care. Main stated that it was impossible to know how many Palestinians from Gaza had died in detention, as Israel is concealing this information. Fuck. This is like Nazi shit, dude. The conditions described by Main have echoed the testimonies of several Palestinian prisoners interviewed by Middle East Eye. Mohammed Arab shares a room with over 20 other Palestinians in Ofer prison, where they are forced to remain tied up even when sleeping, eating, or using the bathroom. In Taman, prisoners are allowed only 1 minute-long shower per week. Main also spoke of a case during the Muslim holy month of Ramadan in which Israeli guards tore up the Quran and trampled on it in front of the detainees. After his latest testimony to Main, Arab was interrogated by Israeli authorities and repeatedly threatened against sharing more information. Despite this, he has continued to relay messages to the lawyer. Head of the Commission of Detainees Affairs said that all Israeli institutions are complicit in the abuse of Palestinians from Gaza. All Israeli institutions, the government, the Knesset, the army, the Shin Bet, the police, and those who call themselves the Israeli judicial system are involved, he said. If an investigation is done here and there, it would just be for Israel to create misleading assumptions to the world, saying that it is a state that evaluates itself, investigates itself, and supervises its performance. This is just to mislead and hide the grave crimes.
We did an investigation. We don't support the action.
We've investigated ourselves and we've found that we've done nothing wrong.
You're a bunch of fucking disgusting pigs.
Disgusting fascist pigs. This is from Al Jazeera. War of words, as Erdogan says Turkey could intervene in Israel's war on Gaza. Turkey is again comparing Netanyahu to Hitler, while threatening more than a trade ban for the first time.
A war of words has broken out between Israel and Turkey after President Erdogan threatened its country could intervene militarily in Israel's war on Gaza. Turkish and Israeli officials unleashed barbs at one another on Sunday and Monday after Erdogan said in a speech on Sunday that there is no reason that Turkey could not act, noting military interventions made in the past in other countries. While crude rhetoric between the two countries has been regular amid the war in Gaza, the threats and insults come as fears of the wider escalation rise once again. Shortly after Erdogan's speech, Israeli Foreign Minister Israel Katz said in a post on X that the Turkish president was following in the footsteps of former Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein by threatening to attack Israel. Just let him remember what happened there and how it ended, he wrote in reference to the Iraqi president's famous 2003 capture by United States forces while hiding in a hole in the ground near a farmhouse in Tikrit. Hussein was later executed. They're like, how dare you call us Hitler? We don't do evil things. And then they're like, do you remember what happened to Saddam Hussein? He said bad things about us and that the United States took care of it for us. Mm-hmm. Remember that? Remember how we made the United States take care of it for us?
Yep.
In retaliation, Turkey, not for the first time, compared Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to Adolf Hitler. Just as genocidal Hitler ended, so will genocidal Netanyahu.
And it's crazy when you're like, ministers of foreign affairs are just like talking mad shit on X back and forth.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, can we like not do that? Just as the genocidal Nazis were held accountable, so will those who try to destroy the Palestinians. The post continued. Humanity will stand by the Palestinians. You will not be able to destroy the Palestinians. In a post on X on Monday, Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan boasted that Erdogan has become the voice of humanity's conscience.
Erdogan's a dictator. Shit. So.
Well, you know, even dictators can be like, yo, what they're doing over there is like what we do is not cool, but like what they're doing over there, like that's actual genocide, guys.
They're kind of like, hey, we're not great, but look at that.
We oppress our people.
You see that over there?
But we didn't do that. We still extradite Nazis. Mm-hmm. 90-year-old Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
But we're letting this happen. International Zionist circles, especially Israel, who want to suppress the righteous voice, are in great alarm. History ended the same way for all genociders and their supporters. Turkey restricted some exports to Israel in April, 6 months into the war on Gaza, and said it halted trade with Israel altogether in early May. Israel said it would scrape the country's free trade agreement with Turkey in retaliation, with Israeli Finance Minister Smotrich signaling the move is reversible when Erdogan's name sounds like you should be a Star Wars person, like a Padawan.
Yeah. His name was wasted. Like, he's a shit person, but his name's cool.
Yeah. When Erdogan is replaced by a leader who is sane and not a hater of Israel. Lol.
They're just haters, you guys.
Stop being haters.
Why? They're just haters. We just bomb children. Why would you hate on us for bombing children? You don't need to do DMT or some shit, okay?
As in, you need to take your last dose of life.
Yeah.
I know it's real long.
Naturally secrete DMT soon, please. Yeah.